Did you know that Friedrich Merz and Manuel Hegel really liked to sniff an exhaust pipe? I didn't know that either. But of course, the Greens immediately tear it apart and tell us that we absolutely have to vote for the Greens today. I'll show you that in this video, and I'm telling you, you've never laughed like this before. I hope you went to vote, of course. If you haven't voted yet, turn off your video right now. If you live in Baden-Württemberg, please go straight to the polling station.
Then our Chancellor was asked if he wanted to smell the exhaust. Friedrich Merz smelled it. What was the result? Water vapor. And what is the engine? A highly efficient combustion engine?
If these things existed, then we would all be climate neutral and everything would work here. No one would have to worry anymore. What he's saying there is an absolute lie. These engines don't exist. However, what does exist are nuclear power plants that can burn the fuel rods almost completely to the end. I mean, let's be honest, they're not being built here either. But how it gets even more ridiculous, you'll find out here. And please don't forget, yes, what Cem Özdemir would say about this topic. Forget Özdemir, you'll find out.
Ja. Bitte die Fresse, danke, ich rede gerade. Özdemir would say about the topic.
Just imagine for a moment if Markus Frohnmayer had said that to a migrant. Do you even know how that would have gone through the press? Yes, I'm telling you, that would have absolutely exploded. And even today, if that had happened half a year ago, we would still be seeing those clips played over and over again on WELT and on public broadcasting. However, Cem Özdemir is above all suspicion. And you know very well that if you were to vote for the Christian Democratic Union or the Greens today, purely theoretically, the end result you get either way is a green-black or a black-green government. Unless things turn out differently and we reach the last 30% of non-voters, that's why I'm making this video now, when very few people are making videos. Unless we somehow get them to the polls so that they don't vote black or green.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've really lost our minds.
Thank you, Manuel, for mentioning the combustion engine. Yes, that's how it was. I went into this Bosch factory in India, and there was an engine running audibly, and smoke was visibly coming out of the exhaust.
Yes, these statements are just like the autumn of reforms. In the summer, everything feels noticeably better, and that's what the truth looks like. Mass bankruptcies. Did you actually know that economic growth is already off the table? No, we won't see any economic growth this year, not even 0.01%. The economic experts already agree on that. Next year, we'll see deindustrialization under the Christian Democratic Union and Social Democratic Party. So when will the Christian Democratic Union finally put an end to this, I would really call it, this horror? Oh, right, not at all, because they're already controlling borders, so you can't refuel abroad anymore.
Which celebrity would you like to have a beer with?
Alive or dead? Dead, of course, dead. You can only have a beer with that person now. Well, you can see that again. I can't do this anymore. Guys, please, did you vote? Just vote out this bunch that's hanging around there. I really have to say the election campaign, or what's left of it, is such a toxic atmosphere. And this Manuel Hegel is really unbearable for my taste. So why can't you answer reasonably and say, for example, Helmut Kohl? No, jokes aside, honestly, anyone who goes there now and actually votes for the Greens and the Christian Democratic Union must somehow not have understood that Baden-Württemberg is on the verge of collapse. That this year, another 160,000 people will lose their jobs. Which, well, has just been confirmed by the latest forecasts, but they're holding those back until Monday.
The North Rhine-Westphalia Office for the Protection of the Constitution has classified the Alternative for Germany youth organization Junge Generation Deutschland North Rhine-Westphalia as a suspected right-wing extremist case.
Especially before the elections in Baden-Württemberg, to make sure that the Social Democratic Party definitely gets into parliament as well. Because just imagine, yeah, maybe the Social Democratic Party would be kicked out together with, I was about to say the Greens, no, with the Free Democratic Party and the left. Then they would have the blocking minority. How crazy would that be? So they really went all out again, even in the final moments of the election, to maybe give the impression to get one or two more people to not put their cross with the blues. With the sky blues, by the way, is the weather just as nice where you are? Clear blue skies here for us. Yes, they've just classified it as a suspected right-wing extremist case again that couldn't have waited until Monday. Definitely not.
Is this a legitimate protection of democratic institutions, or is it more of a danger that it looks like parties are trying to change the rules to exclude another unpopular party, namely the Alternative for Germany?
No, it's not a legitimate protection of the institutions. It's quite obviously about holding on to power.
They are definitely trying everything, really everything, to cling to their power, to keep governing, to cover up what they've done for years. By now, that's what it's about. Yes, and it was actually on the news now. I'd like to play it for you since I didn't have anything about it yesterday. Yes, they're simply trying to change the constitution now in Saxony-Anhalt because Sigmund Ulrich is so strong. And that's the one reason that apparently exists. Not to protect the institutions, but really just so they don't lose their positions and can place their people like chess pieces.
In Saxony-Anhalt, the Alternative for Germany is especially strong with Sigmund Ulrich, the candidate for the office of Minister President. Officially, they say it's about a parliamentary reform, and that's what this draft law is intended for. By the way, you really have to take a look at it. I actually brought it with me. It is being introduced by the parliamentary groups of the Christian Democratic Union, the Left, Social Democratic Party, Free Democratic Party, and Alliance 90, the Greens. Officially, as I said, it's called parliamentary reform. I would call it a cartel law against the Alternative for Germany.
Exactly. If you go to vote today, yes, because you haven't voted yet, you will be voting for the cartel here in Germany. Just to make it very clear for you, even the world is already talking about it, or yesterday the world was already talking about it. So let me ask you honestly, have you already voted today? If not, then please go vote. I'm telling you, okay? Technically, I'm not supposed to do it, but I would definitely pick one against the cartel parties and vote for the blues if I could. Unfortunately, I'm in Lower Saxony, but soon I'll be able to do that in the local elections, where I'll simply vote out the old parties as well. If it's possible, I have to say,
because it's so strong in this federal state, the parties, as former German Democratic Republic citizens, I think still know the word United Front, have joined together too. So there are some really great leftist terms like strengthening democracy, increasing resilience, but actually they just want to make life difficult for the Alternative for Germany. Should they actually become the largest parliamentary group and possibly provide the minister president? Specifically, the president of the state parliament should no longer automatically come from the strongest parliamentary group.
Fact is, they're simply changing the rules of the game. And some of you commented below, saying that calling it an enabling act is probably a bit of a stretch. Yes, that's exactly how the National Socialists did it back then, just on the other side, because they kept getting stronger. Now the old parties are using the same thing to cling to their power. And for those who say yes, but elections don't matter anyway, then go and try it and try. When they lie to us after the election because they can appoint the Prime Minister, then we can all take to the streets and say he lied to us from start to finish. So far, in my opinion, he's only telling the truth. And even if Frohnmeier, except for, yeah, but he's evil, I've never heard anything from them. Yeah, the thing with the plane tickets was maybe a bit much, I'll be honest about that. Yeah, but in the end, I don't always have to have the same opinion as, well, the Alternative for Germany. That's why I'm asking you, if you want a change in politics, go vote in Baden-Württemberg today. Maybe we'll get a big surprise. And if we then realize they're lying to us through and through, maybe we won't make mistakes in Saxony-Anhalt or Mecklenburg-Western Pomerania. That's why you should go ahead and cast your vote on the ballot today.